are you? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, everybody. Hey. Hi, everybody. How are you? Got my mic here. Got to put it on. Oh boy. I'm not even gonna pause too much. Is that better? Am I on? Leslie here. Leslie, Zazoo Plazz, Zazoo Plazz. Same time, same place. No, not different. Not same time, different time. No, it's all the same. I don't know. It's probably 10:30 or 11 o'clock. I don't. Whatever. I made it out here. Oh my God. What is it? October 15th, 2023. Oh, I don't know. There's some weird post-eclipse energy going on out here. I got my hat. It's one of those weeks right before glove season, you know, when you can get by. I got my shirt on. I got my little running shirt here, my little running zip up I used to wear back when I went, running in the woods. I still do sometimes, but not as often as I used to. And then I got my hat. I got this jacket at like Job Lot sometime back a few years ago. It was on the boys' rack, and my son was like, "Mom," he's like, "Oh, that's my jacket." I said, "No, I'm taking it. I want it for myself." Hey, don't laugh. They have some good stuff, like Job Lot. You can get, like small guys' jackets, cheap, just to throw on, when I'm going outside, or just when I need some. Of course, it's black. Gen X mom here. They had to have a pop of color, but black. Half my wardrobe is black, because, the workout clothes, they go with everything. Black is the new black, is the old black. Somebody told us at some point, about the new black or the old black or whatever. And my mom always used to wear, that was her uniform. Look at her closet. And she was, not when I was growing up, but, in recent years before she passed. Since she was since the 90s, to 2000, she had the black pants, right? It's sort of like the LL Bean grandma look, grandma look. She had the black pants, and then she'd have she'd get the LL Bean matching, t-shirt. In the summer it was a t-shirt in all the bright colors, and in the winter it was the turtleneck with the matching fleece over if it was really cold, or the vest. And then she had that's what I'm talking about today. The Mary Jane shoes, we Gen X girls, we had, when we were little kids, they put us in those Mary Jane shoes, the patent leather ones with the strap that goes across, and then your feet chub would come through the little holes. Your foot chub would stick through the holes in the shoes, and it was just, and then your ankle chub would kind of flow over the top. They were, I hated them. It's not my look, but my mom swore by those things, they look like they should have Velcro. In the days, I put my boys in those Velcro sneakers when they were little, but she had these, they were Velcro. So, in her 70s, 80s, before she passed, she would buy these shoes from Europe or something. Every time I'd visit, she'd say, here's the catalog for the European shoes. They're really good quality. And I'd go, she'd say, well, tell me what you really think. I said, I'm not going to wear that crap. Anyway, so I wear Skechers because they're colorful and they're fun and they're, relatively inexpensive. I get a few pairs of Skechers, and I got my LL Bean hiking shoes. Back in the day, I had my knockoff Doc Martens, but the girls are wearing those again. Like my son's girlfriend, he's in college, he's at UConn. He just came home for, what he's working on something for school, and then he's going to go back. He was in Vermont this weekend. He took my husband's old car. He left his Miata at home because we had the roof done on Friday, and he didn't want to leave his nice car, out. He put it by the street. So the guys came and did the roof and stuff, and it was far away. So they were dropping stuff off the roof, like tiles and all, and I'm in my room go like this, like the poor dog is like. So they went through about 3 hours. They had everything, out, and then they were having a little snack, and then like 3 hours they did the whole thing, and they took pictures up there. Like, I don't know how those guys can stand being up on the roof like that. They have to shimmy up there. They got their little, clippy ropes and stuff, and they're climbing up there. And fortunately, I speak Spanish, so I knew what they were saying. But it was, they're good. And they left the porta potty. They had a little porta potty they put by their basketball court, our basketball hoop, and they left it there. I don't know when they're going to come pick it up. I've always wanted my own porta potty. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, about, my son, something about my kid. Anyway, the shoes, right. His girlfriend, she goes to college in Vermont, so he goes up some weekends and visits her. But she wears these like monster shoes. They're like Munster, the big clumpy Munster shoes, which are kind of like Doc Martens with, a little height to them. I mean, mine were flat, relatively flat, chunky sole, but not this. Her shoes are like this. How the hell do you walk in that? I don't know. Nice girl, but they're different. Gen Z. It's like they're what they are about is what they think we were about, but it's not. But that's kind of like with the 80s. They're all millennials or whatever. They're all about what they think the 80s were like, but that's not what they were like. We were way more boring than they think we were. But that happens. That was last week, Journey. Yeah. So this week, it's what I gotta say though. Post eclipse. That was some eclipse we had, and now we're into that season where the veil is the thinnest in the whole year, between mid-October and say, November 10th, somewhere in there. And you can feel it too. The veil is the thinnest between the worlds. And it's even in the readings today. There's that reading from Isaiah where God is going to have everybody to the feast and destroy the veil, the illusion, right? It's funny, walking this path that I've been walking for a few years. Every time I read these readings, I see them from it's like I'm going up a staircase, and you're, the higher up you go, you can't read it the same way anymore. You see the world from a higher perspective. And it's like, when you're down on the lowest floor, you're looking up, right? And all you can't think that, because you're down in the mud, right? So when you're interpreting anything, it's all from that lowest, most basic level. But once you start climbing the stairs, you get a different perspective. So that's kind of what, I think what's happening, because I'm seeing things from a different point of view than I did, when I was in my 20s, in my, as a kid. It's not that you even have to go anywhere physically, but it's a state of mind, right? That is a shift that will take you in amazing places. People are drawn to you, right? Things are drawn to you at the level that you're vibrating, right? So, Yeah. So that's where I'm coming. The veil, the whole veil thing. Like women, we get married. They used to have the veil. I didn't have that. I did wear a veil when I got married, but it was never over my face because I was 29. Come on. But like my Mother's Day, they all had the veil, and then put the veil back. Remember? And it was like a big thing. I think when I got my first communion, we all dressed like brides back then. They dressed all the little girls like brides. It's almost gotten out of hand. But we had I think I had at some point maybe some kind of a veil. I don't think I wore it over because I couldn't see where I was going. But I think, I used to see like, little old ladies in church, and they'd have, like little old Italian ladies. They have like the veil, the black, like if you went to a funeral or something, it was kind of like a funeral, but they'd wear it to mass. They'd be there with their rosary, and they had this is old school, like really, but you'd see, I don't know, I've seen, not in the past 40 years, say, but I think when I was growing up, I was a little kid, and I remember seeing real old ladies, in the church with and we didn't, the nuns that I had in school didn't have the wimples. For the most part, they had just, the habit, and you could see their whole faces and their hair and everything. But the old nuns, like the boomers had, and my parents had, they had the whole, thing with the thing like this. Yeah, and they used to say Mass in Latin back then, like, my parents did. And then they had the Second Vatican Council in the Catholic Church, and that was the year I was born. And then everything changed, right? So we Gen Xers, we never lived in a world, that previous, we've always been, the veil's been lifted, right? And it's been, that's the literal veil. But the figurative veil between the worlds, we've been headed toward that. So all these readings are about, God sending servants, right? Servants to get people, now it's today, to people to come to the wedding, right? And the wedding, it's what we're leading to, right? It's what God's been talking about all these years, right? It's a time when we're basically, we're at the world is at an energetic level, whether you understand this or not. But it's energy. So back in the time of Jesus and, way before, God kept sending the prophets to kind of get people ready. It's kind of like, when you have a big concert, right? Or a big event, and you send out to save the date. You got a big wedding, right? You want to make sure everybody comes, right? So you send to save the date way ahead of time of the wedding, right? And so everybody puts it on their calendar with a reunion, like my high school reunion coming up. And then you send out the big invitation, right, when you get closer, So that was kind of like Jesus coming, right? Say, oh, you got to save the date, right? And then you have Jesus come. Now you roll out the big guns, okay? And Jesus said, okay, it's, getting people really ready. So, or you could compare it to like, when you set your alarm to get up in the morning. And it says, do you want to snooze? And I always say yes. So these are Zazoo Plazz parables, right? And then you hit snooze a few times. There are those people, right? God's invited you to come, but you got to get up, right? But then it's this one guy, all right? All the people are already at the wedding. This is Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew here at 22. And he's been hitting the snooze button. He rolls out of bed. He just grabs whatever the heck, is in the closet. He's not in a suit. He just grabs whatever, shows up in jeans at the wedding, right? What do you think they're going to do? Everybody's in there dancing, having a good time at somebody's house, hall or whatever. This guy shows up in his ripped jeans, and he just bedhead, just rolled out of bed. what do you think the bouncer's going to say? Get the heck out of here. You're not coming in here. These people look good. These people have been getting ready for the event for a long time. You, sir, go home, take a shower, and then if he does it, he's going to be too late, because then by the time he goes home and gets, showered up, it's going to be, the doors are going to shut. It's going to be, too late. Sorry. So, God has sent us a lot of warnings, right? So, if you keep hitting the snooze, we're running out of snooze time, is what it is. Right? So, that's just my point of view, folks. This is comedy. This is humor with a little grain of, truth. I'll leave it to you to sort that out. But, I'm out here every week. So what it means is, okay, if you want to go to that party, right, you got to put in the work, go get something nice to wear, just, you got a big event coming up, right? So you're going to, get in shape, right? Get rid of the extra weight, get rid of go get your hair done and get your mind right. You don't want to, because the most important thing is to have an open mind when you go to an event, right? You don't want to go in there and, you want to be in a good mood, right? So you're going to make sure that you get some sleep, that you do what you have to do, and you get yourself, mentally prepared and physically, your whole self, right? So you have a good aura about you. This is what it means, right? And so it's a time, right, that you're not, if you're invited to this thing, you're lucky, right? You're going to the event of the year. It's like think of like the biggest party, that everybody wants to go to. So anyway, so then I started thinking, so God wants us to, go to this party. God wants us to, have a good time, and there's going to be the best food and the best, dancing, and then everybody's going to be there. We're going to be back together again. So, you want to go to this. It's going to be a good time. And, God gave us plenty of notice to get, book your hotel room, right? I remember when I graduated college, my parents said everybody in Boston was going to be graduating that weekend. So they got their hotel room booked, my mother got her outfit, you gotta, that's what I'm talking about. Only it's sort of it's more of a spiritual nature. But you see where I'm getting with this. So, yeah, it's, so you got to get rid of your old ways of thinking, right? Your old ways of viewing. So we got this song, and it was a bit of a struggle. My husband was watching Yellowstone, and he's just bears, and he was in the other room. I can't concentrate, I need quiet. So finally he shut the TV off, and then it came through. My kid, the environmental science major, calls me up Friday, Saturday. He said, "Mom, Dad, I got to do a survey on bears." So for 20 minutes he asked us questions about bears, right? In the state of Connecticut, he said they're trying to get a feel of the pulse of the, citizens of Connecticut, on whether, what do you think about bears, like going through your house, and, should we shoot bears, and, do you want to live with bears, and, all kinds of bear questions, the bear necessities. So, having worked for the State Environmental Agency, I was all over it. He's like, "Mom, he's like," and then I thought, settle down, Sally, which was what my coworker at the DEP, this woman who used to work next to me, and I wrote a story about her for my Zazoo Plazz book. And what a character, you know. I'd get all up in my high horse about the environment. I want to save the environment. And, you know, I was the person who had to talk to the people, the good citizens of Connecticut, about marauding bears, you know, getting loose and eating people's brownies and, you know, licking women, licking people in the woods and, you know. So, but my friend, she used to handle the phone calls, which I said, God bless her, because I could not do that. You know, I was the one who, you know, helped with all the news clip reports and all the computer stuff. And she was a boomer, right? So she used to do the phone stuff, and I did the technical stuff. And I tried to show her a better way to do the news clip reports. And time after time, I'd come back because I had to leave and come back, you know, because I was seasonal. And she would have screwed it up again, so then I'd have to show her again. And she got... So anyway, but we got to be good friends, you know, throughout all this. And then last night, I just had the instinct to Google her, you know, and then come to find out she passed away. And she was 61 years old. She had some health problems, you know, so it wasn't completely shocked, but I was so sad to read that. I read it several times, and you know, but I thought part of her name has the word hawk in it, so she was the hawk. And I had a hawk come and visit me a couple weeks ago and just sit in my tree in my yard, looking at me for 2 hours. And now I know why, because she's been trying to get through to me, and I have been blocked. So now I know what she was trying to get through to me. And, you know, she died back in June, and I just didn't know. So I'm, you know, kind of missing her. And once you know, but I kept her alive through my book. So I'm sure she'll be showing up in a future book, in a future Zazoo report. The song of the week. Would you just get to it, lady? Okay. Remember the Mary Jane Girls? I think they were on a VH1 special about like one-hit wonders. 1985, actually October of 84. This song, this finally came to me. It was a tough call, but okay, Rick James wrote this song, the Mary Jane Girls. Remember the Mary Jane Girls? They go with the shoes. R&B, like soul, kind of, you know. Yeah, this is perfect for Halloween. In my house. Get your minds out of the gutter. All right. They said, okay, this song is about love. And I view it as a song, if you view it from a, you know, the third floor, or the fifth floor, instead of the basement. Yeah, my house, not in the middle of the street. No. In my house, you know that one? That one. Stop singing. Okay. So it's about love, right? So I find it interesting. 1980. Let's see. It was their biggest hit. Got to number 3 in the R&B, number 7 in the Hot 100 Billboard, 12 weeks in the top 40. So it crossed over. Went from R&B over to pop. And man, do I remember that song. It was this top dance club single by April of 85. So, I mean, I remember when I went to Spain, this was one of the big songs that was on playing at the time. Wow, that was a good time in music. So, yeah, I mean, kind of a Motown vibe. There's the key to unlock the door to my house. Okay, get your minds out of the gutter. And the whole, sugar thing. But, it's perfect because, I view it as, it's like God saying, come to my house. We had the reading today about the walking in it's the funeral passage, Though I walk in the valley of dark, I fear no evil, the cup overflows, that whole thing. There's this there's this feeling of welcome, right? Hospitality, um, the cup overflowing. I have more than I need. I have everything I've ever wanted, right? If you look at it from a higher perspective, right? God is saying to us, come to my house, right? The house of the Lord, right? And if you get your mind out of the gutter and look at some of these songs from a higher perspective, right? Then, you'd be amazed. But, and that's how I see it. Anytime, day or night, I will be there, right? That's how that's what God's saying to us. Even these so-called dirty songs, right? They're all divinely inspired, and they're channeled through people. And then they go out there, and people drag them down into the gutter, and the parents. 1984. Okay. Now I was 19. No, it was almost 18, 19 that year. But so there's this Parents Music Resource Center in 1984 that decides, oh, this is a dirty song. We're going to ban this song. It's filthy and inappropriate for our children to watch. Somebody's smoking. Yeah, so, what the heck? All right, so I just want to say that, can we stop? It's music. Okay, so I can't imagine my parents ever, they would even think of calling the radio or doing something and banning a song, all right? We listen to all kinds of songs, and and it seems to me that the more of a fuss you make over it, the more you me thinks that you doth protest too much. You know what I mean? If your mind is on higher things, you're not going to be worried about your kids listening to some crap. We all listen to that stuff. It seems to me that the more of a fuss you make about it, the more the kids are going to want to listen to it. That's just my point of view. My parents couldn't have given a crap what I was listening to. I listened to all kinds of music. I grew up in a house, my parents, they were playing all kinds of music. I was never sheltered from that. I was never told not to do adult things. So therefore, I wasn't in any big, I saw things from a higher perspective, even as a kid, I wouldn't waste my time. The thing is, if all that stuff is out there, but if you're vibrating at a higher, not literally, but if your energy is higher, that stuff's not going to even occur to you. You're not going to know those people, right? So that's the thing. If you're emphasizing to your child, if you're constantly banning books and banning, you take the beauty out of life. You take the wonder out of life. You take the potential for your child to listen to that song and have it mean something totally different than what you think it means. You're basically cementing that song into those dirty meanings. The more you protest and fight, okay? So these are the people that you don't want to pay any attention to, the people who are banning songs. If it's the stuff that's out today, much more explicit. That stuff in my house, come on, we danced to it. I never thought twice. No, I didn't think that way. Maybe that's just us Pluto and Virgo kids. We were naive, maybe. But I like to come to my own conclusions about music. I hear those explicit songs today and I cringe. I can't even be in the vicinity of that, so I just turn it off. Give your kids some credit to know what feels good to them. Don't take it away and chastise the heck out of them. Let them breathe and live and learn, and not forbid them to experience life. You're cutting them off before they even get started. Anyway, I hope some of that rings true to you. I just had to get that off my chest about the Parents Resource Music. Anyway, yeah, Halloween's coming up. I'm gonna go. Everybody ate my shrimp that I made from last night, so now I gotta make chicken fajitas. So I better go back to my house, make my chicken fajitas. Anyway, rant over. Till next week, Zazoo Plazz. See you later. See you next week.